All
All right,
right.
continuing on. 109 units is the amount we made, or I made in 2022. Okay, so for this demonstration, let's just scale that down to a 100 unit per year pace, right? So let's say we make 100 units per year as a pace, right?
Which is insane. A
Which is
good
good, but it's
a
easily
good
possible.
yeah, it's
If you guys
definitely
have been
possible.
following the weekly, if you guys have been following the weekly recaps, I'm up 20 units already in the first 2 weeks. So we are getting off to a great start, right? So 100 units per year on a pace, right? And we're going to say an average amount people out start with, right? This is your personal account. Let's just say you start out with $2,500, right? 2500. I'm going to try to speak through it in case you guys have any, like, you can't really see my handwriting here or my computer writing. So $2,500 is the amount you start with, right? And let's say we make one unit 3%, 3% of your bankroll. So 3% of 2,000, 3% of 2,500. So that would be $75 a unit, right? So your bets would range from about $75 to $150. I'm not going to write that down. There's no reason to. Not going to take time. So keep that in here. It's 75 to 100 units, or 75 to $150 per bet, which would be 1 to 2 units per bet, right? Now, assuming also that you level up your units appropriately, I'm going to show you how to do that in 1 minute. It's a very easy process, but let's assume you know how to do it. And let's assume you follow my bets at an 100 unit pace, starting at $2,500 with the unit being 3% per 3% of your bankroll. How much money do you guys think that $2,500 would turn into after 4 years, assuming the pace and assuming all the information? Put it in the chat. Don't do any math at all. Don't get a calculator. I want a couple people to go in the chat, take all the information I've just given you, and tell me how much money you think you would make after 4 years. I want to hear what people say.
So we usually use 1 to 2 units as a play. So that would be, like Sam said, between $75 to $150 per play. And that's at a 100 unit clip per year.
Yeah. So
and then you adjust
no one in the chat. Does no one want to say anything in the chat? No one wants to say how much you think
how much do you think after 4 years we will make? So
4 years, assuming here, let me do it one more time, Jacob. Let me do it one more time.
Well, explain
$2,500 is your starting amount.
Okay, so we got 50K from Katrina.
50K. Oh, I'm not getting these. Oh, here, you're good. Now I got it. 50K.
All right.
50K. Here we go. So $2,500. Assuming 3% per unit at an 100 unit per year pace. Right? So that's assuming all those information. I only got 2 people. Let me get 10 people. Let me get 5 people. Right? So, let's keep going. Don't do any math. Don't do any math, guys.
So Julia says 15,000 times 4. That's
25K.
Julia says 60K. Stephanie 25K. This is after 4 years, everybody. 70K.
After 4 years. No, Jacob, don't give anything away. Jacob, you're spoiling
it. I'm reading the chat.
After 4 years. 2.4 million. That's a big one. I like the optimism, Jamal.
We got 2.
Okay. I think we got enough guesses. In 4 years, this is assuming the pace. In 4 years, your $2,500 we're turning to a whopping total of $10.8 million. And I know you guys are looking at that and you're like, oh my, like, this is crazy, right? That little number, your mere $2,500 4 years ago has turned into $10.8 million. How could this have possibly happened? Right? And there's no tricks to it. There's nothing I'm not telling you. There's no secret sauce. This is just the power of compounding, the power of investing, the power of patience, right? In that first year, we may not make too much. I mean, we'll make a decent amount. There may be some losses. Maybe we only get to 15,000, right? Maybe we don't have as great of a year. So the total is only 8 million in the end. But guys, in 4 years, this $2,500 turns into this.
That's at
That's
a
your
100
sportsbook
unit.
itself.
That's at a 100 unit pace.
Obviously, yeah, things could go wrong. Maybe we only make 80 units in 1 year, right? Then we would only be at 8 million. Oh, boo-hoo, right? I'm assuming you guys would still be happy with that because a lot of you guys have said 50 to 100K. So just looking at that, that is the power of compounding, and that is the power of what sports betting can do for you.
That's where, but this is where we will stress later on bankroll management. It's called bankroll management for a reason. Don't be enticed by the Bleacher Report,
and these are good. Yeah. So again, this
Instagram
isn't
about the $1 million parlays and everything. They're posting that for a reason.
Exactly.
They're being paid by somebody for a reason.
This won't be easy. You know what I mean? Especially mentally, it won't be easy. There will be times you experience loss. Where experience losses. There will be times where you feel like maybe you're not getting as much money, but you need to stay on course. If you stay disciplined and you stay patient, eventually you will result with this. And guys, it's simple math. If anyone wants me to prove it, I have a calculator right here. I have a calculator. I can prove it. And if you guys really doubt it, I will be able to. I want to get on and show the basics of sports betting. But if anybody wants me to prove it, I will prove it. And I will prove it using simple math. But that is the power of compounding and the power of sports betting. Now, I'm not just going to show you all these results and leave you hanging. I'm going to give you a basis, and I'm going to give you the basics and what everything kind of means in terms of sports betting. So I am going to get a new share up here. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to get a new share, and I am going to show you how to do this here. New share. Okay, share. All right, guys. So now we are on let me try to get this in presentation mode. Is there a way? How do I get this in presentation mode, Jacob?
Go to slide.
Start slideshow. Here we go. Got it. So here we go. Sports betting, investing basics. And again, I know we started off big. We started off showing you the millions of dollars or the $1 million you can get to. I did not mean to do that, but it's fine. We can start here. I know we started off large, but this is truly it. So Jacob, I'm going to let you start this one off, and I'll let you kind of share what you think, like talk about the sports books. You're more of an expert on this than me, so you can go ahead and just talk about.
Is it showing? Because on my screen it says loading. Can you all see the screen?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me. All right, that good?
Awesome. So yeah, so Sam started off with the bang. But where do you start out at? You have to find yourself a good sports book. So the best cappers, the best sports investors, the best handicappers, as they're called, they all search and they move around and they find lines. We'll explain that here in the next couple of slides. These are just a few of the sports books. Bovada is one of the most widely known offshore sports books. It's based out of Costa Rica. You have Barstool Sportsbooks, DraftKings, FanDuel. So these are just a few of the many. I'll go a little bit more depth later into offshore sports books. What's the pros and cons of those? But each sports book, they have different bets. So FanDuel is really good for prop bets. So for NFL running back, over under rushing yards, over under total carries. DraftKings doesn't really have those. They have the rushing yards, but they don't really show the total number of rushes. I've not personally have used Barstool, but they have some good prop bets. Better just opened up it for those of you that are in Ohio. Better sports books with Jake Paul. He just opened up one, and it's for micro betting. So you can only deposit so much in a week. So for those of you that are just starting out and you're in Ohio, that's a good sports book to use as well.
Here, talk a little more about maybe like the alternate sports books and like how people.
So Bovada is a offshore sports books. Like I said, in a few chats later, I have more. but the one I'm currently using since I'm out of the country is Bet365. It's England. They have about 4,000 to 5,000 employees. It's one of the largest sports books in the world. You can get it in the US as well. And they have really good customer service. But none of these are 100% safe. DraftKings, they just got hacked. All the users' information got used. So you still need to take care. Do your due diligence, research whichever sports books, but these are the ones that are available. There's Soccer Bet for those of you that are liking soccer. I don't know. Is Texas a legal state, Sam? I don't know which states are
Off
legal.
my head, most states towards the west coast aren't legal.
Right. But yes, you can still bet living in Texas, and we'll help you out with that. Like Bovada, you have the Bet365. There's a few other ones. So for these sports books, the three that are showing, Barstool, DraftKings, FanDuel, those are in legal states. But we will talk later on offshore sports books as well.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'm gonna move on. Oh my God. Here we go. Odds. So kind of what are odds and how do they work? Because odds are the most important concept, just like anything, of how much money you're going to make. So sports betting odds are a numerical representation of the likelihood of a specific outcome in a sporting event. So that's just the basic definition. But just here we go. Here's two kind of examples. You see Washington Commanders. These are two NFL examples. Washington Commanders plus 120, Dallas Cowboys minus 120. So minus 120, this number, minus 120, you can clearly see that corresponds to the wager here. So it's all in correspondence to win $100, right? So minus 120 means to win. So minus 120, wager 120, you see it, to win 100. So you would have to wager whatever number this is. Let's say it's minus 250. You would have to wager $250 to win $100. So basically that's how that works with minus odds. With plus odds, it's the opposite. So it's still based off of 100. Everything's scaled to betting $100. But in this case, it's how much you wager to win. So if you wager $100, you will win X amount of money. In this case, the odds are plus 120. So you wager $100 and you win 120, right? So those are just basic odds, minus, plus. But the lowest an odds can go is plus 100, and they can go as high as minus 50,000 or plus 50,000. Yeah, so all based off of $100.
I forgot to put so when Jacksonville was down this past week to the Chargers, some guy put $1.4 million to win. I think it was like 10,000 or 15,000.
Yeah, I saw this.
Don't be that guy. The odds were literally like minus, I don't even know what those odds were. I forgot to post the picture here, but I'll post it in the free chat. Yes, thank you, CG. It was 11,000. $1.4 million rate risk to win 11,000. So that's how difficult the odds can be. And that's where you'll see the return on investment. So if you can hit plus, so if we hit obviously we'll have a higher return on investment if we hit that Washington Commanders money line at plus 120, then our return on investment at the Dallas Cowboys at minus 120.
And also, guys, so one more thing before just getting questions. Odds can change and as the event approaches. So as the NFL game gets closer, it's just because one odd is set at plus 120, this plus 120 Washington Commanders can go up to 160. So maybe you get better odds and better ROI. Or it could go down to minus 150, just depending on news throughout the week. Just because one set of odds are set at one time doesn't mean they can't change. Odds can always change. This is odds are probably the most simple, but most fundamental concept of sports betting. So I want anyone, if they have a question, if they're confused, it doesn't matter if it's dumb, it doesn't matter. I don't care what it is. Please ask the question, because this is a very basic concept. In order to take our picks, you must understand odds. So does anyone have a question about how odds work?
So let's say Dak Prescott gets injured before they're playing the Washington Commanders. That line is not going to be 120. That line probably is either going to go to even, which is minus 110 or plus 110. Those are considered even odds. Anything 120 and above are considered
Yeah, hold on. Let
technically
people,
worse off. So
so I just want to let people ask any questions if they have any, because this is very important. So if anyone has any questions,
right,
you can go and speak up right now. You can unmute.
exactly. And then you can live bet, and the odds will change during the live betting as well.
So no questions for anyone, because I want to make sure everyone understands this. If you guys, especially if you guys, yeah.
Quick question, guys. So obviously, like when the odds are plus, that means it's a better chance of being hit, right? Or does that matter?
Yeah. So basically, I'll answer the first part of your question. Higher odds in the minus, and so they indicate a likelihood. So higher than the plus means that there's a less chance of it hitting according to the sports book, but you will get more return. And with minus, it's just flip flopped. And so, what do you mean by what does it matter? Like, why does it matter? Like, I'm just confused on that. Like, what do?
Oh, no. Because like for example, sometimes you'll see like let's say basketball, right? Like in free agency, you have people would do their speculations, right? I'm just giving an example, like, oh, LeBron James have like a 120 chance of going to the Celtics, 1600 plus chance of going to like the Lakers, and like a 15,000 chance of going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So most likely the one with the most like number, like the higher percentage, is probably the one that has the higher favorite, or is it less in that case?
So the one with the usually, it's the lower number. Like, I'm gonna eliminate the plus or minus. The one with the lower number is usually closer to even.
Got it.
Right, so that means it's closer to even on if it's like a 50-50 chance. It's closer to 50-50. Plus 100 is exactly 50-50. And if you look at the plus or minus sign, if it's higher towards the minus, that means there's a higher likelihood, higher than 50%, that a certain thing is happening. Certain, like if it's minus 150, there's a higher than 50% chance that LeBron is projected to go to the Magic, let's say. And if it's plus 150, there's a less than 50% chance that you'll go to the Celtics. That's just basically how that works.
Right.
Got it.
That answer the question?
Yeah. That does. Perfect. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Jamal. Thank you.
So basically these are percentages. So Jamal, when it's plus 15,000, if you put $1 on, you move the decimal 2 times. So that's why we did $100. So if you do $100 on plus 15,000, you're going to win. If LeBron went back to Cleveland at plus 15,000 odds and you got it there, you put $100, you're winning $15,000. But if it's plus 500, you put $100 on, you win $500.
Exactly. Anyone else have a question? Thank you, Jamal. That was a good question. Anyone else have a question? Make sure you understand the concept. All right, I think we're good. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to go to now the spread. So what is a spread? How is it represented in our picks, and how does it work? So if you see this image right here, Cowboys -4, Washington Commanders +4. So the point spread refers to the point differential between two teams in a given game. So -4, this is football. If you guys don't know sports well, Cowboys and Commanders are two football teams, and their basis is points. So they go off of points. The Cowboys, in this case, minus means you're favorited by 4. You need to cover 4 points. So what that means is if it's -4 means the Cowboys need to win by 4 points or more, right? So if you're betting on the Cowboys, they need to win by 4 points or more. And if it doesn't matter if they win by 2 or 3 points, the bet doesn't hit. If they win by 5 points or 6 points, your bet wins. And then with the Commanders, there's 2 different options for the Commanders are +4. So that means they're the underdog. And in this case, what that means is if they either win outright or lose by below 4 points, your bet would be considered a win. So that's just a basic thing. If you see, I'll go in the chat and I'll put, let's say I wanted the Cowboys -4, I'll go and put Cowboys -4, 1 unit, which means I want you to put 1 unit on the Cowboys -4, whatever that is for you. So that's basically how a spread works. And it's a pretty simple concept, but definitely an important concept. So Jacob, if you want to add anything to that, and then we can ask answer any questions.
Right. And so this is, and it, as we talked about.
Oh, watch out. Someone had a question. What's
Okay.
up? Darren, you had a question?
I don't
Okay,
think.
got it.
he-
Maybe I was
So
mistaken.
with this, there's what's called a push. So if Dallas lose, let's say you take Dallas at -4, and Dallas wins 17-13, they win by 4 points. That's a push. If you took Washington Commanders at +4, they lose 13-17. That's a push. You get your money back. So you put $100 on it. Then you'll get your $100 back, and it goes as a tie, or in sports investing terms, as a push. And then there's also alternate lines. So you might see, okay, well, we might have a beat on the game. We think, okay, well, the Cowboys are a lot better than the Commanders. We might know something that the public doesn't know, and we'll say, okay, we'll take Dallas at -7. So we're basically buying 3 extra points, and that's going to raise the odds from -10 into plus money. So again, for them, right? So it might go to like plus 150 or plus 160. So when we say alternate line, that means because the line that Vegas is giving, all these lines are put up from Vegas. Whatever line that is, we are going to change it. So
And
that's
also buy
right. And these move a lot. Like you'll see. So always ask questions. So like if Sam puts a bet out or a pick out, and you're like, it says +2.5, and you said, oh well, now it's down to +1. Ask us. We can say, well, that's technically worse odds because you have 1.5 point less to win that bet. So definitely ask if the lines aren't the same, the odds. So maybe it's -4, but it changes to -140 as opposed to -110. So if you have any questions regarding that is going to hurt your return on investment. And also for me, I usually don't put any picks. It's very rarely I'll put a pick that's less than -140 out there, just because if it doesn't hit, your return on investment is going to take a huge chunk.
Yeah. Also, just to give you some more context on a spread. So a spread is set by the bookmaker or the sports book. So for example, FanDuel, a team on FanDuel will set this line at -4 and +4. And just like odds, the odds can stay the same, but just like odds, the spread can change throughout the week. So maybe Cowboys was set at -4 on Monday and the game is on Thursday, but then Dak Prescott's ruled out. The bookmakers can set this spread to now only -1 because their quarterback's out. So it can change throughout the week. And that's actually something that's important. You may want to take an earlier line if you anticipate a drop. You may want to take a better line. So they're set by the bookmakers, and they're usually set with like a lot of data and abilities. So like they have professionals looking at this stuff too. So usually you don't have an edge on the sports book, but we are making it so you do have an edge. And yeah, that's kind of how more context into a spread. We can go over it quickly for you in the chat. But yeah, anyone have any questions about a spread? If you missed anything, I can repeat something on the spread. If you're like Zoom glitched out. So any questions right now? It's a fundamental and basic concept, but it's important to learn if you're taking our picks or if you're making your own picks. So any questions?
So we recorded this, Inga Marie, and you can go back and look at the intro. Basically, this is the second slide that we're on. We're just going over the different types of bets, and this is one of them. The spread at -4, +4. And this is for NFL. For soccer, you can do, it'll be -1. Obviously, a lot of goals are not scored in soccer. So it can be same for hockey. A lot of hockey is -1, -1.5.
Yeah. So I just want to, someone asked a question in the chat. I want to give people the opportunity to talk. The meaning of -110. So -110 is the most common, like odd number set by the sports book. So -110 usually is going to be -110 and +1, or -110 is usually how they set a spread. So each opposition of a spread or a total, which we'll get into in a minute, will be -110. That's just odds. -110, the logistics of what that means is if you were to bet $110, you would win 100. So anything with minus and then a number after that would mean if you bet that number, you win $100. That number is always set by the sportsbook, by the way, odds. So just going through it for anyone as a question. Any other questions, you can unmute and say them. You don't have to say it in the chat.
Another way to look at it like that. So basically what Vegas is doing is they're giving Dallas Cowboys a 48. So this is about a 48% chance to hit or win at minus 110. So they're basically saying Dallas Cowboys have a 48% chance to win at -4. There's a 48 to 49% chance of the Commanders to lose by no more than 4. And then there's a 2 to 4% chance that it's going to end at 4. So if you play roulette, it's very similar to black and red and green.
All right. Yeah. Roger just asked a great question in the chat. Adrian, I'll answer your question afterwards. Roderick asked a great question. If you pick a spread and it changes, do you get to keep your original pick or does it change also? So if you place the Cowboys at -4 on Monday, and then the spread changes to -2 on Wednesday, you picked it at -4. So that will stay locked in. Your bet will still be -4. It will not change with you because that bet has already been placed. As soon as you place the bet, you have that number locked in, so it will not change unless you cash out and place again. That's the only time. But other than that, if you lock in the bet, the spread or the total or the number will stay the same. Great question, though. And yeah, live bets definitely, they can be good. I don't do a ton of live betting just for the convenience of you guys. You guys may not be looking at the Discord 24/7, and the odds could change very easily. And something could happen very easily. So just for the convenience of everyone, I tend not to do live bets, but we can teach about live betting in the future and explain how you guys can do it yourselves and how you can take advantage of it.
Right.
Any other questions in the chat about the spread?
So let me answer a little bit regarding the live bets. That's definitely a lot more in depth because there's hedging and a lot of different other types of live betting there is. So that will definitely be covered in the future courses, especially for our March Madness tournament that we're preparing.
Yeah, Adrian. Yeah, definitely. Well, Jacob has that. Jacobs is the guy for live bets. So, and he's very successful with those. He has a good win rate. So definitely, if you look at Jacob's live bets, you won't be disappointed in those.
Are you in the VIP? So we put our picks in the sports betting in the VIP. So you have to be VIP members to get our daily picks.
Yeah. So Jacob,
Okay.
actually, we can decide. I mean, JB just asked a question: how do you determine who's going to win? What is your research process? That is a very complicated but good question. Right now, this is just the basics of sports betting, but we will in the future be doing a multi-part series on how we determine each of our picks, because there's a lot that goes into each pick, different information to get a good win rate. So we will definitely be going over that with you guys soon. Jake, I mean, we can get more details on it in the future. But
yeah. So that's the thing. Sam uses a different strategy for NFL than what I did. And we had some head-to-head matches where we went back and forth. He's like, I think this team's going to win. I said, I think this team's going to win. A lot of it might have been because I'm a passionate person with my sports teams, but there's a lot of research going into it. That's why, if you've noticed the last 2 weeks or so, I've been traveling. I've not been around. So I put before my picks, I put 2 to 3 hours of research in before I put those 4 or 5 picks in. So we're definitely doing our research for y'all. There's a lot that goes behind it. Analytics, matchups, who's in, who's out, so yes, but that's definitely going to be a question answered in a multi-part series. Yeah, for sure. Any more questions regarding the spread or anything else? Remember, I'm open to asking questions. Nothing is a dumb question. We really want to clear the air for you guys so you guys can take advantage of this opportunity. Any more questions? All right, perfect. Moving on, total or the over under, which is here. We did make it a little more broad. Oh, wait, hold on. How do I go back, Jacob? Go click the back key.
Yeah, got it. Okay. My bad. Anyways, total, it's not necessarily the over under. Totals can be used for many different things. We're going to simplify it because there's a lot of different bets you can take. And basically what a total is a little bit different from the spread. So let's say you don't want to bet on a team. Maybe you want to bet on the total points in a game. And that's what it is. That's what total stands for. It's for total points, total runs if you're talking about baseball, total goals if you're talking about soccer or hockey. And that's basically what is a total. So here depicted, this is in the Cowboys Commanders game. And the sports books have set the line at 48. So that means the over under is 48. And you can either bet that the total points that both teams score will go over 48 or under 48. And basically that is one of the ways an over under is used. That's how it's basically same thing. Sports books, just like odds, set the totals weekly. Just like spreads, they can change weekly, and they often do change weekly. That's actually a strategy we'll do later, line movement. And totals can be used in other different things. So for player props, there's going to be a total set for a guy like RJ Barrett. Let's say he goes 19.5 is his total. You can go over or under that total, right? So totals are used in many different things like player props, and it's an important concept. Again, just knowing it's a basic fundamental concept that we will put in our picks. If anyone had any questions regarding the total or anything else related to the total, ask them now. And Jacob, actually, you can go quickly before questions. You can go over and say anything I missed.
Right. This is huge. I'll kind of go more in depth of over unders. I look every year, there's at least 2 or 3 games that is affected by major weather. So every single game I look at the weather. I hit a really, really big parlay the first week of the season because Chicago got torrential, like the hardest downpour that they've had in almost a century. And the over under was around, they're playing the 49ers week 1. I think the over under was set at like 40, 45. Well, by the time the game, we were talking about changing, by the time the game started, Chicago plays outdoors, they're on grass, it's a new turf. It went from around 40, I think it was 44.5, it ended at 37. So this is definitely something to take an eye out, keep an eye on, especially soccer, American football, outdoor events. Look at weather to see. And also, so the Buccaneers and Cowboys is yesterday. The over under was 45.5. If you all have seen, but the Cowboys kicker missed 4 extra points and the total ended at 45. So if you bet the over, then you lost your bet. If you bet the under, you won your bet. So that's where it's really important to understand, okay, well, how close are we to this over under? Obviously, that's a huge, we call it a bad beat because kickers never miss more than 1 or 2 extra points in a game. This guy missed 4, took 4 points off the board. The over would have hit, but instead the under hit. That's just part of sports investing. You have bad beats, you have good wins, you have bad wins. So the under, I would have considered that a bad win, but hey, a win's a win. So definitely for over unders, keep in mind, it's one of my favorite bets as opposed to the spread or the money line as what you see there. I don't know. We don't have a slide on that. Do you want to go over that money line real quick?
I'll go over it quickly if there's a question about it. I mean, also though, bad beats I will talk about in the bankroll management section. So we'll definitely get into bad beats and how to deal with losses. Cause that honestly, like not even the physical part, you can tail our picks, you can make your own picks. That's 50% of the battle. The mental battle is another 50% on staying disciplined. So quick questions just on the total or anything regarding the total or any questions in general. If there are anyone who wants a question and wants me to clear the air, ask them now. Unmute and ask them.
And of course,
yeah, I had
I'll watch out.
Go ahead, Adrian.
I had a question about prop bets. Do you guys ever seen your prop bets in, or do you do prop bets?
Yeah, all the time. I don't do them as frequently as Jacob does. That's like Jacob's actually main way of betting, and he can get more into that because he's more of an expert. But yeah, we definitely do prop bets, and they apply the same way as a total logistically. So It's set by the sports book and it can change throughout the week. Oftentimes it doesn't change as much, but they will change and there will always be odds set for them. Jacob, if you want to get a little more into prop picks, go ahead.
Yeah, so my number one prop pick this year was Christian McCaffrey. When he went to the 49ers, his running was around 40 to 50 yards a game. And like that's easily gonna hit. I think it hit around 80% of the time this year. So again, it's all based off of matchups. A big thing I look in basketball are centers and power forwards. If a team has their starting center is out or they're resting, or if the other team's center is 2 to 3 inches taller than the power forward from the opposing, the rebound over is a very high. It's highly likely to hit. And again, you'll see on our when we start talking about bankroll management, you only need to hit 55 to 60% of your bets. If you can hit 55 to 60% of your bets, you're going to be a top capper. It's just like anything in sports. I mean, if you can hit baseball, you hit 300. If you hit over 300, 300, I guess that's what it's called. So 30% of you get on base 30% of the time. That's huge. You're considered one of the best hitters of the league. So for sports investing and your picks, if you can hit 55% to 60%, you should be gaining units every week.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Jacob wanted me to go over the money line quickly. I'll do it quickly because I want to get going on this and I want to ask any questions. Money line basically just is asking who wins. I'll answer your question in a minute, JB. Money line is just saying who wins, and there'll always be odds set. So for the Cowboys, it's minus 190, Commanders plus 160. Same odds apply, minus 190, 190 to win 100, plus 160, 100 to win 160. So basic concept, money line is just which team will win. And yeah, let me just get JB's question up again. Still confused. What points are consistent in the over and under number touchdown? So all points. Every point that you can get is consistent, and it's just the total points that both teams score. So the total points that the Cowboys and Commanders score is what's added up to the total. So over under 48 points, the sports book is projecting that that's the best bet. So Cowboys and Commanders will score a total of 48 points. That's around what the total is. And if you can bet the over, which means you think both teams will score more, a combined points of over 48. So if you think they'll score 55, 60, that's where you can bet the over, or you can bet the under if you think the opposite. So the total points in an over under are just how many points each team scores combined. Did that clear the air at all?
Something very important on this is depending on the sport, also depends on if does overtime come into play or not. So for NFL, overtime counts as the over under, but soccer, NHL, a lot of times the over under, you have to watch and make sure it doesn't say within regulation. So there's two different bets. You can say within the regulation, including overtime, or just within regulation, and those odds are going to change as well. So you have to be cognizant of the sport that you're betting as well. But for,
I mean, we can get into the details.
Yeah,
too.
but that's for future classes.
Yes. All right, perfect, JB. Any other questions regarding the total or anything else before I move on? All right, cool. Now for the most important section, bankroll management. What is bankroll management? How can it be used for long-term results? So on here, we got two sample sizes of how both of our, I don't know what your sample size is, but my sample size right here dates back to like a couple months. We were on a losing streak at the end of 2022. So that definitely was disappointing, but don't worry, we are getting it back right now. We've had back-to-back great weeks, but bankroll management is important. The reason why I didn't maybe had a losing month or a losing weeks, and the reason why my account didn't go in the dust was because I used bankroll management. I would stay disciplined. I put the same amount on each bet according to the confidence of my bet. So as I just explained, for me, 1 unit is 3%. Maybe you want to be a little safer. Maybe you want 1 unit to be 1%. I'm a little riskier, so I make it 3%. But I make sure to stick to that system. I don't go outside. I'm not going to bet 10 units on a single bet because that's not smart. And if you lose that, you're in some deep water and it's going to take a while to bring it back. So I stick to a 1 to 2 unit basis, 3 units occasionally, as you see on the right with the Cowboys. Shout out to anyone who liked and reposted the weekly recap. Bankroll management is important to practice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Probably call you about 6:15, 6:30.
I got you.
I thought so. I thought she was asking a question. Adrian Scott, perfect question. We'll get into that in a minute. Oh, what?
Wait, go
Hold on.
back.
That was weird. All right. Yeah, definitely. I'll get to that in a minute. But bankroll management is important. Oh yeah, Jacob just spoiled it.
My bad. Sorry.
We'll get back to it in a minute. So that's bankroll management, just really sticking to your system of your units, making sure you have a system and staying disciplined to it. So for me, unit is 3%, as I just said. And that's a part of bankroll management. And part of it is also the mental game. There will be bad beats, as Jacob just explained. Maybe we have a total that doesn't hit because something dumb happens. Like something happens, the bet should have won, but it didn't. That's what you call a bad beat. And the way you deal with those, the only thing is you just have to stick through it. You know what I mean? A big mistake, and this is why a lot of sports investors end up losing money, because they start getting a couple bad beats that maybe should have won, and they start over betting. They start placing too much money on individual bets. And that will get them down the wrong path. And that gets a lot of people down the wrong path. So make sure you have to stay disciplined on bad beats. Bankroll management is important to manage your losses. And over time, yes, exactly. Just like trading, you have to manage your bankroll, and you can't overbet. So you really just have to stay on course, and you kind of have to trust the process, win or lose. And that's really the number one thing. And yeah, the app we use is Action Network. It's a great app for tracking. I used to track my picks individually, and it was very difficult. So if you want to track your own personal picks and track your own personal progress, this is an app I definitely recommend downloading. Jacob, if you want to get into bankroll management, I know you'll have a lot to say on this.
Right. So yeah, I have a lot less risk than Sam. So my unit is 1 to 2% unit size, and I rarely go to a 3-unit play. So you can see exactly here on ours. So mine's on the left, Sam's on the right. We are both at exactly 53% win. And you can see how many our record: 279, 246, and 7, 286. So Sam has a lot more bets. He does a lot more betting than I do. Like I said, if I can't research for 2 or 3 hours a day, then I'm not putting picks in. That Siena -4.5, they were on a 7-game win streak. Kansas was on a 5-game losing streak. That was very unfortunate. Loss there. But you can also see, just like stock trading, Forex, futures, what have you, it's not going to be a linear curve straight up. You're going to have the roller coaster of emotions, but how do you manage those emotions? So we talked a little bit about the units. We will get more into detail regarding it. But like for me, so if my account was 2,500, then if I have a 1% unit, then 1 unit is $25. If I have a 2-unit play, then that's to win. And that's to win that unit. So I'm betting to win $25. I'm betting to win $50. So you can see here with that Siena -4.5, I lost 1.1 unit because I bet 1.1 unit to win 1 unit. And if you have a +110, then it would be lower. It would be like 0.95 units that I would have lost. So that's where it comes in. Again, you see our names here. If you want to take a screenshot, download the Action app. It's a green check mark, and you can add us. We don't have a VIP on there, so anybody's free. Usually I will put my picks like after the first quarter of a game so that the VIP members can get to them before the game starts, and then we upload them there. But just like I was saying, if you can get 55 to 60% win rate, you can see, I mean, at the beginning of October, the beginning of NFL season, we destroy the bookies. And then what happens is Vegas will then start to turn and change their odds ever so slightly. And so then that's where that dip comes in. And so if let's say we start out at $2,500 and we have a terrible couple of weeks and now we're at $2,250, my unit is going to adjust. So usually every 2 to 3 weeks, I will adjust my unit size depending on what my bankroll is.
Yeah. And again, I want to remind you again of the mental game. There will be dips. Like you guys, you can look on the graph, especially my graph. Look at my graph. I mean, this isn't obviously the sample size of a year, and that's only a couple months. But you can see goes up, 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 up. Oh, down, 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 down. Oh, back up, down, up again. Right. And it's important to maintain discipline. It's important to maintain patience with the results. Right. Because I showed you the demonstration. It's all about the pace you're going at. There will be losing days. There will be losing weeks. Don't think we're going to get a 1,000% ROI in like 3 weeks. We're not going to get close to that. Right. But if we stay patient, we stay the course, we're stay on the winning trend, because as long as we have a winning percentage, that will compound over time. Remember, it's a fixed win rate. It's a fixed bet. So again, I remind you of the mental game. I remind you of the demonstration I showed you that $2,500 after 4 years being compounded on a winning pace will get you to $10.8 million. I remind you that the hard part of that is staying patient and staying disciplined through the losses. So I really want to preach this. This is easily the most important part of anything. If anyone has any questions about bankroll management or any advice on it, ask away, because this is extremely essential to making long-term gains.
It's the exact same thing as having a stop loss and the stock market. If you're trading options, this you can't. It's like Sam said, it's a fixed. You win or you lose. You can hedge, yes, but the bankroll management and sticking to that 1 to 2% unit, that's your stop loss.
Yeah.
For
So
those
for
of you
sure,
that trade.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions? I want to give like 5 seconds. Anyone who wants a question right now, you can type in the chat if you don't want to speak, or you can unmute and ask away.
But by far the most important part of investing, sports investing right here, is bankroll management. You have to have it.
100%.
It's sports psychology, everything behind it.
You can be the best sports bettor in the world, and then you can put 100 units on one play and then lose it all. This
Right.
is 50% of the battle. All right, so no questions. I'm going to move on. Again, this is something that Jacob knows a little more than me. He's good at odds shopping, which is alternative sports books. He has 3 of them. And this is for the people that are in states where sports betting isn't currently legal, as it's a relatively online sports betting, at least, is a newer concept. And it's still coming to legality. New York, the state I live in, only became legal last year. So definitely, Jacob.
So these are a few alternate sports books. There's hundreds out there. These are some of the most popular: Bovada, MyBookie, BetUS, Bet365. So BetUS is becoming bigger. It's becoming one of the bigger ones. Again, they're based out of Costa Rica. Most of these are based out of Costa Rica, but BetUS is also in Canada. So if there's anybody in here from Canada, that's a good. And if you guys need anything, reach out to us. We have some sign up links to get you some different bonuses and promos. But another thing, I'm not going to go into detail about this, but if you do sign up on this and they talk about a rollover, or you can get, let's say, 100% rollover, so you put $2,000, you can get 100% bets on that, and they will give you $2,000. There is a caveat to that. If you practice bankroll management, it doesn't matter. But please reach out to Sam or I, and we will explain what that rollover means. Be careful with MyBookie. If you Google them, all of them, they've had their problems in the past. But MyBookie, definitely, they've been known to not pay out people that have hit big parlays, or if there's like some freak thing that happens in a game, they'll just hold on to your money. Again, these are not sanctioned in the US, so they can do whatever they want. So be very, 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 very cautious. But again, if if you are not betting $5,000, $10,000 at a time, your account most likely will not be suspended or blocked, which does happen if you win too much. They have every right to do that. But yeah, so these are some of the alternate sports books, but again, they are not US regulated, so you are accessing them at your own risk.
Yeah, so probably a smart thing to do would maybe be to withdraw relatively frequently, just in case something goes wrong. Again, I don't use an alternate sports book. If people do, they can chime in. You guys can go talk in the Level Up Discord. I think Jacob, you actually use Bovada sometimes too. You have an account. So
Yeah, I did have Bovada. I don't know. They're not. It's not allowed here for some reason, so that's why I'm using Bet365.
All right. But thank you guys for watching. I mean, again, we're not done yet. I want to kind of do a quick reminder and recap for those who missed, but I'm giving one more opportunity right now to ask any questions you guys have about anything. You guys want me to maybe explain my math on the demonstration. Maybe you think you don't believe me. This is completely fine. Those results are pretty huge. Or if you have any questions about odds, spreads, or the basics of sports betting, put them in the chat or unmute and ask them now. Okay. Yeah. So I definitely want to remind you, I mean, a lot of people in the chat were like, how does that work on the demonstration? But truly it's just compounding. And I really, here we go. One question. What website do you use for research? There's no specific website we really use for research. So I can't give you a one kind of word answer here, but we will be getting into certain websites you can use for statistics. You can read for articles. We will explain all this in a deeper kind of session later down the road. And I do have a couple announcements about that, but we will explain all of this about our process, how we actually make our picks down the road. Right now, we're just talking about the logistics of betting, but good question though.
Right.
Any other questions for anyone?
And we have some websites that we pay to look at. We pay for it to look at where's the money coming from. Where's the big money coming from? So it's not like we aren't putting our own money down. So there's a lot of different angles to look at.
Yeah, but definitely also any of you guys who are Brunch and Picks listeners, a quick announcement before I kind of recap everything. If you guys are Brunch and Picks listeners, since football season is coming to the end, we're now transferring it to something called the weekly preview. We'll make a flyer for that in a bit. We're going to record it tomorrow. It is not live, but we will be doing a recording, kind of breaking down games for the week. We got the divisional round coming up. I was 3-0 in the wild card weekend in the NFL. So I have a 100% win rate so far in the playoffs. And we're going to be breaking down a bunch more games in basketball and hockey and football. If you guys definitely want to tune in for that, or not tune in, but listen to the recording and kind of gain some knowledge on sports betting for sure in that. And we will also definitely share a couple of strategies and kind of go through our strategies on each pick. But yeah, just to recap, I mean, we're talking about the basics here. We're showing you guys how this new kind of way of making money can really be used effectively and can really be used as a great complement to trading, or can be used as something you just make money off alone. The results say it for themselves. The demonstration, there's no secret sauce. There's no fluff. There's no gimmick here. This is just math. This is just compounding. And this is just patience and discipline. It's simple. And if you guys just follow the steps, you guys learn how to make your own picks. Maybe you tail our picks. We have very good win rates. You will be able to achieve those type of results. You know, it's not going to be maybe the exact same, but for sure you will achieve very good results long-term. Remember, we're looking for long-term results. We're not looking for a short-term gain. We're not looking to hit 12-leg parlays. It's not what we're here to do. We're here to make money long-term, right? And you know, that's what I think does, is what the bot does. The trading bot makes you passive income over time. And that's what we're trying to do here too, for sure. So again, recapping it, bankroll management, the basics, just to understand our picks and really just kind of staying patient and staying disciplined long-term, and you will achieve good results. I'm going to leave any room. Jacob, you want to say any final words?
Yeah. So basically you have to make a choice today. Are you going to be a sports investor or a sports bettor? If you're investing, you got to do your bankroll management. Of course, I like to throw out the fun 12-leg parlay, but I'm putting $1, $2 on it. I'm not putting a unit on that. But you have to, that's for you to make the decision right now. When you upload your first account, whatever it is, wherever sports book it's at, are you going to invest or are you going to just throw money and make it fun, which is fine. If it's a hobby for you, if it makes you more interested, let's say the Pacers and 76ers are playing and you don't like either team, I'm going to put a little money on that to make this game interesting, make it exciting for me. That's completely fine, but you have to come up with that mindset and not get mad when that money doesn't win or not.
100%. I mean, Chris talked about it in the free chat before with trading. He said, if you want the bot, you got to have an investor's mindset. You can sports bet without investor's mindset, but then you're sports betting. We're here to sports invest and we're here to make money long-term. The demonstration I showed at the beginning of the Zoom, you need an investor's mindset for, and you got to decide if you want to make that mindset. You got to decide if you want to be committed to it. We're committed to it and we will help you along the way. We will motivate you along the way and we will motivate you in your journey. So that's definitely a big point, Jacob. Great point. You versus you. Exactly. It's you versus you in the end. It really is. Anyone have any other questions about bankroll management, about investing, sports investing, about the basics, about anything you don't understand? We will help you clear the air. It does not matter what it is. Ask away if you have anything.
And
Okay.
even if you're not VIP, we have a free sports channel. Feel free to tag us in that as well. Our DMs are open if you have any questions. So yeah, so you don't have to be a VIP member to reach out to us. But if you want the daily picks that we give and provide, then that's going to the VIP.
Exactly.
Hey guys, I got a question.
Mhm.
On the picks, what did we miss a pick? Should we take all your picks? Or should we just pick the ones that we want to go with?
I mean, you can really go either way. It's your choice. But I will say one thing. If you're going to pick and choose between our picks, I would recommend developing a good knowledge of sports betting and sports picks. I put out a high volume of picks. So maybe you don't want to take all of them. That's completely fine. Maybe you only want to take 50%. But I would definitely recommend having a good sports betting knowledge and knowing what picks to take and knowing how to make a sports pick instead of just randomly picking which picks you want to take and which picks you don't. So
And
good
when-
question. But yeah, you can take all my picks, but if you don't take all my picks, I would recommend having a knowledge of which pick to take and which not to.
Yeah, because sometimes I try to take all your picks, but sometimes the spread is different than what you have on the chat. So sometimes I'm like, iffy if I should take the pick or not.
Yeah.
And, after I heard today what Jacob said, ask in the chat. So I'm going to do that from now on. But yeah, I was asking that. And then I forgot my second question. But yeah, that was the main one was answered. So appreciate you guys.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Thank you.
And also when we come out and we roll out this sports investing guide and start doing more in-depth detailed classes, we will teach you what we know and how we look for picks. Again, this is an educational platform. We are here for you all to learn. We're going to educate you. And so then you will have the knowledge and say, oh, maybe I see a different B on this game. And then that's perfectly fine. Come back and say, actually, I think this game's going to go the other way. And then maybe it's an angle that we haven't seen. So we definitely will be teaching everybody who's interested on how to look for these picks. That's why we didn't get into it in details here. So then you will have the knowledge of which picks that you like and which picks you don't like.
Yeah, no, yeah. Don't be shy to go in the chat and ask questions or share information. It is completely fine. We would love for you guys to do it. We are encouraging it. Please go in the chat if you have questions or if you have information to provide, for sure.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, yeah, thank you. Any other questions that you want to ask? We will answer them. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay.
Appreciate you all for jumping on. 45, now it's 41. It's exciting. And
Mhm.
yeah, we'll keep posted. Again, we're has definitely something in store for February and March. We're gonna try and get a little March Madness going on. So
Yeah.
my brother and I, my brother's been sports betting a lot longer, sports investing than I call it for him sports betting, but a lot longer than I have. And we had an extremely good March Madness last year. So I'm excited to bring that forward with you all.
A quick question. We got a question in the chat before we end. Where do you save your bankroll? Can you just clarify that a little bit? I mean, I think I may know what you're talking about, which is Action Network. That's where we kind of track our picks. It's an app you can download on the App Store. I'm not sure if it's available on Samsung or Google, but I know it's available on iPhone. And that's where we kind of track our picks, and that tracks our bankroll long term and shows us. So I think that's what you're asking, but if it's not,
Yes,
I didn't answer your question. Okay.
yes, it is.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
And also
you.
real quick, so if you are going to shop around for lines, if you start getting better and more detailed, it's important to spread out your bankroll from your money from other sports books. So you can have half at one sports book and half at another, and then you can be putting your odds there. But that also takes another bit of knowledge of remembering how much you have in each.
Yeah. I mean, any other questions? Again, we'll answer anything. It's fine. It doesn't matter what the question is. If not, I appreciate you guys for coming out, and we can end the meeting if there's no more questions.
Hey guys, it's Mel. I have a question. For a novice such as myself or anyone else, is there a way for future classes to help with like setting up an account or just going through that process from initial?
100%. Yeah, 100% in future classes.
So, okay.
We can help you out, and we'll probably do a screen share. We may not be able to set up an account on the spot, but we can definitely take you through the steps. I mean, I can try to talk you through it right now. They make it very simple. If you're able to download the App Store, there's like a little button on the top that says join account. You need only like a little bit of information just to verify your ID, and then you're good. But if you want a more depth and guided analysis of that, we can definitely provide that for you for sure.
And make sure you get our
Just for future
our
classes.
links.
Huh?
Make sure there's always a sign up bonus link. So ask us for that. And so anyone that, so the love is spread around.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Any more questions? Okay, I think we are good. Thank you everyone for coming out. This is a great Zoom. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you guys learned how valuable sports investing is. And I hope you guys learned a lot about the basics of it. Thank you, everyone. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. And, we have some live picks right now. So good luck to everyone taking my picks currently. So yeah, have a good night, guys. Perfect. JP, you end the meeting or should I?